I'm Megan Clymer. I'm with the Conservative Leadership Trend. Today we have Jeff Clymer. We're going to interview him about finances for young adults. What are some essential finance skills that young adults should learn to manage?
Well, from the very beginning, you should be saving 50% of your check. Too many young adults spend more than they even make. They get wrapped up in credit cards, loans, to where their monthly payments match or exceed what they make, to where they have no room for savings.
What are some financial investments that are best suited for young adults looking to grow their savings?
Well, when you get your first job, right away you want to find out what your company matches, if they match on your 401k retirement account. If it's 3%, 6%, whatever your match is, you want to put that match in right away. So right away, if you're putting in 6%, the company's matching 6%, you're getting 100% return investment right there. You're doubling your money. Now, that's the minimum. I would also encourage people to get into the Roth account, because that will grow tax-free over the years. So matching the company 401k plan up to their match, investing in it up to their match, is the very minimal, and then you should invest beyond there as well.
When you talk about Roths, what are the benefits of starting a Roth at a young age?
Well, if you go into the traditional two accounts that most people have access to, it's 401k, which is put in pre-tax, which means if you made $20,000, you put in $2,000, you'd be taxed on $18,000. A Roth is, if you made $20,000, you'd be taxed on the full $20,000, but the $2,000 goes in the investment account. The difference is the Roth grows tax-free over the years, compounding every so many years, and a 401k is pre-tax in the beginning, but whatever it grows to, you got to pay taxes until you pull it out. Where a Roth, you pull out money, tax has already been paid. It's totally tax-free when you pull it out.
What role does financial education play in making informed decisions in finance?
Oh, say that again.
What role does financial education play in making informed decisions about Roth IRAs and how they can help you?
Okay,
in
so
investing?
most people are financially illiterate in reality. They don't understand investments. The reason I say to put money into your 401k up to your company match is because you usually have about 10 to 20 investment vehicles you can use. They pick for you. Usually they're index funds or mutual fund groups, and you have very little say in it because most people don't want to have a say in it. They're financially illiterate. The reason education is important is you should be learning how to invest, what a company is worth, what are the signs of a prospering company versus one that's in debt with very little income or potential income and is basically living off of debt. So the more you can learn about companies and investing as an early age, you will avoid some of the traps that are set throughout your life and avoid some of the downturns earlier.
You talked about traps. What are those misconceptions?
Well, the traps are that you just put the money in your account and forget about it, and it's just going to grow over time. And traditionally it does grow over time. But the trap is, if you have $100,000 in your account and the stock market drops by 50% or 30%, you just lost that 30%. Now it takes how many years just to get back to where you were? Where if you're financially savvy and you saw that coming, which there's plenty of signs, if you get into investment, you can see that, and you would avoid that downturn or minimize it to where your recovery wouldn't be as long, And so when the stock market takes back off, you're not trying to recoup what you lost, you're actually gaining. So those are the traps that the stock market is very cyclical. It's up and down all the time. A good investor learns how to see that and moves his money around appropriately. Because our education system doesn't really teach people about investing, they just put the money in there and leave it. And you will make money over the time, but not near as much. I just invested in one stock because I was watching the charts, and in about 2 weeks made 40%. On average, I think the stock market makes between 8 and 10% on average if you just put your money in there and leave it. That was in 2 weeks. If you did that every 2 weeks or every month, you can see how you'd make a lot more in the long run.
Is there a certain amount of money you can put in Roths and in 401ks?
Yeah, the IRS dictates every year. It usually increases, and it also based on your income. So one of the important things about getting started early in life is that you fall below all those thresholds of income, so you don't get penalized. Most people can't afford to save early on because they're living beyond their means. Then by the time they get older and can afford to put money away, now the IRS puts limitations on you. And so if you make over a certain amount of money every year, then you're limited how much you can put in. If you're a highly compensated employee, you're limited to how much you can put in. So very important to get started early because you can put more in, and it has more compounding years to grow.
Are there any tax benefits to either of those?
Well, the tax benefit, like we talked about, the 401k is you don't pay taxes up front. So when you're young, the benefit is to put it in a Roth because you're in such a low tax bracket already, and then it can grow over time tax-free. As you get older and become more heavily compensated, you might want to put more into a 401k because by putting a $5,000 extra in your 401k, you may drop yourself down to the lower tax bracket. You only pay taxes. The IRS has different tax brackets. You only pay the additional amount of that tax bracket once you go over a threshold. You don't pay it on all your income. So if you made, say $100,000 and that put you in the 35% tax bracket, but if you would have put 5,000 into your 401k, you might have dropped you down into the 28% tax bracket. So you would have saved 35% on that extra 5,000. So it's not just what you put into it, but the timing of when you put it in at your different ages.
What are some common financial mistakes that young adults usually make? Is it just they don't invest when they're...
I would say a lot of kids they get told what their salary is going to be, and they start planning for that. They don't realize that you're going to have Social Security come out of that check, you're going to have state taxes, you're going to have federal taxes. They don't realize a big chunk of that check is already gone, and they were planning on spending most of that check on their bills or what they want to buy. So then that's a big shock. Then by the time they see that, then they don't have any extra money to put away. So the biggest mistake they make is not investing early enough to get all the benefits of compounding. And by starting early, you set that mindset, you set that habit. It's a good habit to start early.
What are the best ways to budget as a young adult?
Well, I think if you got to live within your means. So the best way is to start with what you know you're going to have to pay right off the bat, right? You got to budget for your taxes and budget for your retirement and your savings. If you only plan on spending 50% of your check and the other goes toward your taxes and your retirement savings, and your emergency fund, then you'll be way better off, because now you're only planning to spend 50%, rather than most kids get shocked when they get their first check. They thought they do the calculation what they get paid hourly, how many hours they worked, and they think they're getting this big check. In reality, after taxes and stuff are taken out of it, they're shocked. They're like, I worked a lot harder than that. But anyway, that's one of the things that if you just plan on 50% of your check is funds you can use.
And what are the main sources for retirement accounts?
Well, there's tons of different IRS codes that have different types of savings, depending on whether you work for a government institution like schools, or if you work for a private employer that has a small employer that might have a simple retirement account. You have individual retirement accounts, IRAs. If you work for a bigger corporation, you'll have a 401k. And there's just a myriad of different options based on what your employment is. And you can do more than one. So you can invest in a 401k with your work and open up an IRA or a Roth IRA yourself. Now they'll each have different limits of what you can put in, and so you have to pay attention to that. But you're not, and then you don't have to, I talked a little bit about an emergency fund, but you don't have to just have retirement accounts. You can also do a personal investment account that is you can pull out. If you pull your money out of your 401k or any retirement account, you're going to get a 10% penalty right off the bat, plus pay taxes on it if it wasn't a Roth. So having a personal investment account as well is a good thing.
And is stocks market something that young adults should be going into, or is that something for when they get a little bit older?
Well, there's a big, there's some traditional thought that when you're young, you should be in stocks. As you get older, you should put more and more into bonds. But if you look at the bond market lately, it's gotten very risky. A lot of these corporate bonds and government bonds probably aren't as safe as they have been in the past. So it's learning your investment, learning the company or whatever you're investing in, to know, is it a stable investment, and when should I get out of it? What kind of criteria am I looking for when it's time to switch or change money around?
Well, that was my last question, so thank you. And thank you guys for watching.